Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a beautiful princess named Cinderella. Cinderella was married to the handsome Prince Leo. They lived happily in the great castle and enjoyed their lives. But back at Cinderella's home, her stepmother, Lady Puffy, and her two daughters were all upset and jealous.
If I was living at that castle, I would be going to the best balls and dances. I would be eating the most delicious meals at the castle every evening.
Even their cat Papu would dream about a wealthy life at the castle. Lady Puffy was so angry that she threw Cinderella's things out the attic window one by one. We don't need any of these things anymore. It's all useless. Suddenly, Lady Puffy spotted a box which was left in the corner of the room. With great curiosity, she opened it up and found an old pocket watch inside. Lady Puffy took the pocket watch and headed to the living room. The sisters also were very curious when they saw the old watch, and they pressed the button on the side of the watch to open it up and to see what was hiding inside. It seemed to be an ordinary watch with an ordinary mirror, except the hands of the clock began to turn backwards. All of a sudden, bright lights shone out of the watch and lit up the whole room. They were all surprised, and suddenly, an evil fairy appeared in front of them.
Finally, I'm back in the real world!
What? Who are you?
I am the fairy of the past. My name is Kyrabel.
Kyrabel was thrown out of the fairy world because she was a bad-hearted, cruel fairy. She told Lady Puffy and her daughters,
"Whoever of you ladies saved me may make a wish. Anything you want." Me! I saved you. It was me.
The evil fairy Kyrabel chose Lady Puffy for the wish. And without hesitation, Lady Puffy made a wish. "I want you to turn back time to the night of the ball. Prince Leo shall get married to one of my beautiful daughters."
Achoo!
The evil fairy waved her magic wand at the pocket watch and made every watch in the whole country turn backwards. When that happened, Cinderella suddenly found herself back in time, at the night in which she became married to the prince. Then, time slipped backwards again, when she was at the huge mansion that was built for the glass slipper. She tried to get into the mansion again. Then, she moved back in time again, when Lady Puffy and her daughters locked her up in the house and went to the mansion to try on the glass slipper. Prince Leo found Cinderella's shoe at the castle stairs, and again the clock hit 12. The wonderful dance took place once more. Then Cinderella headed to the castle in her pumpkin coach. Time kept slipping backwards until Cinderella found herself sitting under the hazelnut tree with cheddar and mozzarella, and Fairy Leobel came back again.
Beautiful Cinderella, I came to help you. Leobel, what's going on? The prince doesn't know me anymore. This must be the work of my evil sister, Kyrabel.
Leobel told about some mysterious box in the world of the fairies. It was strictly forbidden to open up that box, but Fairy Kyrabel opened it anyway.
No!
She told that Kyrabel was punished and trapped into an old pocket watch. After a long time had passed, she was set out of her prison by Lady Puffy and her daughters. She showed Cinderella that Kyrabel was together with them.
Lady Puffy made a horrible wish to Kyrabel. In order to fix this, we need to lock her back up inside of that watch. I agree, but how?
Leabelle, Cinderella, and their little friends made a plan. Another few days turned backwards. The ambassador of the castle announced the ball again. But this time, Cassandra and Jezebel didn't tell Cinderella about the ball and tried on their ballroom dresses in secret. The next day, to stop Cinderella from going to the ball, Lady Puffy locked her up in the attic and walked away with her daughters without saying anything. Before entering the ballroom, Kyrabel appeared next to them. She waved her magic wand and put a love spell on Cassandra. As soon as Cassandra entered the ballroom, she caught Prince Leo's attention thanks to the love spell. The prince headed towards her and asked her if she would dance with him.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Cinderella and her little friends were still locked up in the attic, waiting for the good fairy. The white pigeon arrived at Cinderella's small window, carrying the old pocket watch in which Kyrabel was trapped before. A moment later, the good fairy Leabelle appeared in front of them.
We have to go to the hazelnut tree right now.
Fairy waved her magic wand once, and all of a sudden, Cinderella and her friends found themselves under the hazelnut tree again. But from behind the tree, the evil fairy Kyrabel surprised them.
Your plan will fail. Cinderella will never make it. And now it's your time to be trapped in the watch, Leabelle.
The evil fairy cast her spells at Leabelle with all her nasty powers, and Leabelle fought back with her magic wand. The little mice and pigeon hid behind Cinderella because of the powerful battle. Leabelle's wand became stronger and stronger. And finally, the evil fairy was defeated and blown down to the ground.
Cinderella, the watch! Open the watch! Hurry up! No, please! I can't be trapped inside that watch again!
Cinderella opened the watch in her hand quickly. The evil fairy Kyrabel disappeared slowly and went back into the mirror in the watch. All the watches in the country started to move correctly again. But of course, this was not the end of the story. The ball! I'm too late for the ball, Leabelle! The good fairy, with a magic touch, gave Cinderella a wonderful dress and her famous glass shoes. A few moments later, with a little help of magic, she turned the pigeon into a huge bird. So, Cinderella sat down on the back of the pigeon, and without wasting a moment, they quickly flew away to the castle. But when she arrived, she saw Prince Leo dancing with Cassandra. Mozzarella and Cheddar ran to the prince and tried to wake him from his spell.
Hey! The most beautiful girl at the ball is over there.
The most beautiful girl?
Whatever. Let us dance. Look, she's waiting for you. Go!
As soon as Prince Leo saw Cinderella, he fell in love with her again, and the magic of true love destroyed the spell of the evil fairy. Cinderella and Prince Leo started to dance.
I think I know you. Your beautiful face looks really familiar.
Cinderella happily danced with the prince. Also, mozzarella and cheddar were dancing. Finally, everything was as it was supposed to be. Cinderella and Prince Leo were married again within a few days, and their lovely hearts were back on track. While Lady Puffy and her arrogant daughters were mad out of jealousy.
We couldn't make it again. Again.
Once upon a time, there were two sisters, Mangita and Larina, who lived in a small cottage. Mangita was a hard worker. She used to work in her father's grocery store in her spare time. Larina, on the other hand, loved to travel and have fun. When she was bored, she looked at herself by the river and combed her hair for a long time.
Today, I am more beautiful than my sister again.
One day, Mangita and Larina's father went on a long journey from which there was no return. Although Mangita was very sad about her father's departure, Larina was so happy.
Hee! Now every day I can sit by the river until morning.
After her father left, Mangita started working harder. She was sweeping the floor in the mornings, making a delicious soup in the afternoon, and hanging the laundry. Larina's only pastime was to cause trouble for her sister. She was dirtying the carpets in the house, pouring ice-cold water into the cooked soup. Why is the soup still cold? And why are these carpets dirty? I just cleaned them.
The animals you feed have made them dirty. Huh!
One day, Larina went out for a walk in the forest. She was just plucking the unripe fruit and threw them into the river. Meanwhile, an old woman who was walking slowly approached her.
Hello, beautiful girl. I'm very hungry. Can you give me some fruit too?
Larina handed the old woman the tasteless wild strawberries she had just picked.
Ma'am, you can eat as much as you want. These are the most delicious strawberries in the world.
The old woman had a stomachache as soon as she ate the strawberries.
Are these strawberries delicious? Ooh! Thank you anyway.
As Larina was returning home, the old woman fell asleep. While Mangita was out picking vegetables in the forest for the meal, she saw the old woman who fell ill. She immediately brought her home and put her on the bed.
What is this woman doing in our house? She smells so bad.
Don't say that, Larina. The woman is very sick. We must feed her with healthy food to heal her. Mangita prepared hot soups and herbal teas for the old woman. On the other hand, Larina secretly threw away the soups and put soil in the herbal teas. Larina, did you put soil in this herbal tea? Tell me now!
No, it wasn't me. That old woman put it herself.
Within a few days, the old woman recovered.
You are a kind-hearted girl, Mangita. If you ever get sick, eat these blueberries every day. You'll recover immediately.
Mangita, who was very tired of doing housework alone for a long time, Eventually fell very ill and was lying in bed. Larina, can you bring the blueberries the old lady gave me? But Larina ate all the blueberries herself. There is nothing here. The birds you feed must have eaten them. Mangita became even more sluggish and fell asleep in a sweat. Larina, on the other hand, left the house and went to the river to comb her hair. At that time, the old woman appeared before her again. Hey, little girl, where is your sister? She packed fruit in sacks and went to work. Ugh, what's it to you? The old woman realized that Larina was lying. She immediately went to their house to see Mangita. When the old woman saw this young girl who was helping her, sweating and sick, she was very upset and wept for a long time. Larina, who was watching them from the window, laughed out loud. Just then, the old woman turned into a beautiful fairy. Larina was very surprised to see the fairy. She happily entered the house. You are a fairy! I opened my home to you. You owe me. Give me the most beautiful hair in the world. Quick, use magic now and make my wish come true. In fact, when the fairy saw Larina for the first time, she turned into an old woman to see if she was a good person. I gave the opportunity to do one favor, but you always did bad. At that moment, the fairy waved her magic wand from side to side. Larina's hair has turned into ivy. Ah, my hair! What happened to my hair? They're so ugly now! Help! Larina ran to the riverside in fear and looked at her hair. As flies were flying around her head, her ivy hair was stuck in the ground all of a sudden. I've become so ugly! I don't want to look at myself anymore! At that time, the fairy fed Mangita a blueberry, and Mangita finally recovered and opened her eyes. Thank you, fairy. I feel so much better now. The fairy waved her wand twice and turned the little cottage they lived in into a stunning palace. Mangita was very surprised and impressed when she saw the palace. Goodness is always rewarded, young girl, and this palace is your reward. Thank you, fairy. What about my sister? What happened to her? Your sister will forever stare at her ugly reflection by the riverside. But I love my sister so much. What's the point of living alone in this huge palace without her? Give us a happy life in our cottage again, fairy. That's all I wish from you. The fairy was very happy when she heard Mangita's words. First, she transformed the magnificent palace back into a cottage again. Later, she went to Larina and restored her ivy hair to its former beautiful state with her magic wand. Larina hugged Mangita happily. You saved me. I'm very sorry. I will be a good person now. I promise. Larina understood at that moment that the happiness of helping people is worth everything. Because happiness becomes more beautiful when shared.
Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, lived a beautiful girl named Cinderella. After Cinderella's kind mother died, her father married Lady Puffy. Lady Puffy had 2 arrogant, jealous, and quarrelsome daughters, just like herself. They would fight for hours, even over something as simple as a hairbrush.
Ah! Stop it! I said stop it! Give it back! It's mine! No!
One day, Cinderella's father had to take a long journey. Lady Puffy took this chance to give all the hard work in the house to poor Cinderella. Cleaning the whole house, carrying wood to the fireplace, and preparing meals took up all of Cinderella's time. Despite her hard work, Lady Puffy and her daughters were cruel and proud.
Mother, Cinderella is filthy. Don't let her eat in the same room with us. Don't let her sleep in our room. We're having nightmares.
You heard what my beautiful daughters have said? Go and find a place to sleep in the attic. Poor Cinderella settled in a dusty old room in the attic. Out of her small window, she looked down to the garden. And from time to time, she would talk to a snow-white pigeon.
Why, hello, sweet pigeon.
As the days went on by, while cleaning up her room in the attic, Cinderella met two little mice.
Who are you little guys? Hi, I'm Cheddar. I am Mozzarella. And I am Cinderella. You little guys love to eat cheese, don't you? I will prepare a delicious meal for you. Yes. We are starving. We haven't been able to go to the kitchen for hours. There is a mean, hairy, sharp monster down there.
That nasty cat, Papu. First thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to prepare a delicious breakfast for you two. The next morning, Cinderella went to the kitchen without making any noise. The mean cat, Papu, waited in front of the tiny mouse hole in the kitchen to hunt Cheddar and Mozzarella. Cinderella silently took some pieces of cheese and headed to the attic. But then, Lady Puffy's daughters caught her.
What are you holding in your hand? And where are you going with it?
It's just some cheese for breakfast.
Mom!
Cinderella is stealing our food. I'm stealing? I would never steal anything. A thief and a liar. What an evil girl you are. The little mice went downstairs and started to run around the kitchen to scare the evil sisters.
Ah! Oh no! A mouse! There's a mouse in the house! Mom, I'm scared! Not one mouse, it's two! Ah!
Lady Puffy was just about to catch the mice when there was a knock at the door. The royal ambassador arrived.
His Majesty the Royal Prince has prepared a grand ball at the castle tomorrow night. All the young ladies around the country are invited to this ball.
As soon as they heard about the grand ball, Jezebel and Cassandra ran with huge excitement to their rooms and started to pick dresses for this important evening. Also, Lady Puffy wanted her daughters to look beautiful. So, the evil stepsisters forced Cinderella to prepare beautiful ball dresses for them. The next day arrived. Cinderella was very tired. Her little friends tried to wake her up.
Cinderella, wake up! Wake up! You have to go to the ball!
But I don't even have a dress. The only dress I have is dirty.
Close your eyes, Cinderella. We have a surprise for you.
Her little friends took Cinderella to the middle of the room. The white pigeon lifted the cover of the wall with its beak.
Ta-da! Ta-da!
I can't believe it. It looks amazing. Cinderella put on her new dress and did her hair, and finally went downstairs. But her evil stepsisters saw Cinderella and went crazy with jealousy. Lady Puffy didn't want Cinderella to go to the ball when she saw that she was prettier than her own daughters. So she threw a bowl of beans into the fireplace in the living room for Cinderella to pick up. If you can pick up the beans out of the ashes and put them back into the bowl within 5 minutes, you can come to the ball with us. Cinderella wanted to go to the ball so much that she began to pick up the beans. Her little friends saw her situation and came to help. Within 5 minutes, they picked up all the beans and put them back into the bowl. Cinderella ran after Lady Puffy, who was already leaving, and showed the full bowl to her. Lady Puffy still did not want Cinderella to go to the ball, so this time she used Cinderella's dirty dress as an excuse, and they left Cinderella in the house and went on to the prince's castle. Poor Cinderella was very sad. She sat down in the garden and wept and cried right under a hazelnut tree that her mother had planted long ago. And just then, the hazelnut tree began to shake and to shine, and a beautiful fairy appeared in front of Cinderella.
My name is Leabelle, and I am here to help you. Don't be sad. You will go to that ball as well. But how am I supposed to go to the ball like this? Leave that to me. I just need a pumpkin. The other things I need are already here.
Cinderella came back, holding a pumpkin in her hands. Fairy Leabelle began to wave her magic wand around and turned the pumpkin into a beautiful coach. The mice into very nice horses, and the pigeon into a well-dressed coach driver. Cinderella couldn't believe what she saw.
But how did you do this, Leabelle?
The fairy waved her magic wand again and put Cinderella in a beautiful blue dress. On her feet appeared sparkling glass slippers.
I look like a princess now. Thank you, Leabelle. Now it's time for you to go to the ball. Hurry up.
The fairy warned Cinderella before she headed to the ball.
But don't forget, you need to be back at midnight, or else the magic will be gone, and everything will be as it was before.
Cinderella listened to the fairy carefully and finally headed to the castle. The pumpkin coach stopped in front of the big castle. Cinderella, with her overwhelming beauty, entered the castle. The guests of the ball saw Cinderella and wondered who this beautiful young lady was. Neither Lady Puffy nor her daughters realized that this beautiful girl was Cinderella. Prince Leo moved towards Cinderella and fell in love at first sight.
Beautiful young lady, may I have this dance, please?
Cinderella was mesmerized by the magical dance with Prince Leo, so that she forgot about the time. When the clock was just about to strike 12, she remembered the fairy's warning.
You need to be back at midnight, or else.
Cinderella left the prince back and ran out of the castle quickly.
Where are you going? I don't even know your name.
Cinderella ran down the castle's stairs and all of a sudden lost one of her glass slippers. Unfortunately, she did not have time to go back and take it, so she ran to the coach as fast as she could and left the castle.
Find the beautiful owner of this lost slipper. If necessary, every girl in the country shall try on this shoe.
As soon as the clock struck 12, everything turned back to what it was before. Cinderella went back to her room in the attic. She thought about the magical night she had had with Prince Leo and realized that she fell in love. But it seemed to be impossible that the prince would recognize her with her old dirty clothes. Time passed, and the prince had a huge mansion built next to the castle for the precious glass slipper. All the young girls living in the next country visited this place to try the slipper on. Even Lady Puffy and her daughters visited the famous mansion, but did not take Cinderella with them. You stay at home. It is impossible that the shoe belongs to you.
Right, the shoe is going to fit Cassandra or to me. But I also am a young girl living in this country. I have the right to try on the shoe as well.
Lady Puffy did not even listen to Cinderella. She locked her up in the house and left with her daughters. Of course, the glass slippers did neither fit to Cassandra's feet nor to Jezebel's.
If I try only a little bit more, I think it will fit.
At nighttime, when the mansion's lights were sparkling, Cinderella made it out of the house, thanks to mozzarella and cheddar. She arrived at the majestic mansion and walked towards the sparkling glass slipper. As she was just about to try on the shoe, Prince Leo stepped into the room.
Stop! Don't move! You're going to damage the shoe!
No! It's my shoe! It fits me perfectly!
She is telling the truth. She is Cinderella.
Cinderella courageously put on the shoe in front of Prince Leo, and he realized that the shoe fits perfectly
That night,
to Cinderella.
you are the beautiful girl I danced with on that night. May I know your name?
My name is Cinderella, Your Highness.
Will you marry me, Cinderella?
Cinderella happily said yes to the prince, whom she fell in love with. They got married in the big castle and lived happily ever after.